Hello and welcome to Global Take. We're here on School Rubric for our third episode of a show that talks about specific international school issues and has guests from all around the world. My name's Nick DeForest. I'm coming to you from Vienna, Austria, and today we're going to be talking about aligning the sails of our programs, our athletics and activities, and just educating the whole child in general throughout our schools. We have two new guests with us today and one returner. We have Kathy in the Philippines, Scott in Dubai, and Dave Horner in Belgrade, Serbia. Dave, would you kick us off with a little bit of an introduction here?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me back, Nick. It's really great to be with the Global Take again. Dave Horner, Director of Student Life and Leadership at the International School of Belgrade in Serbia. I'm very excited to be here discussing holistic education with everyone.
Awesome. Thanks. Kathy?
Hi, everybody. My name is Catherine Tanko Ong. You can call me Kathy, and I'm from Brent International School, Manila, which is in the Philippines, and my title is Director for Student Activities. I'm happy to be here at Global Take. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And Scott, last but not least.
Yeah, thank you, Nick. My name is Scott Hibbard, and I'm the Athletic Director at Dubai American Academy. It's a great honor to take part in this panel on Global Take, and I look forward to a great discussion.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Some great administrators and good friends of mine, so I'm really happy to have you guys on here with us. Thank you for watching out there, whether you're watching live or the recording. It's great to have all of you part of our show. If you are watching live, I just wanted to remind you, you can comment or ask questions if you're watching on YouTube and Facebook. So please go ahead and do that. We'd love to hear from you. And let's not wait any further. Let's get it right into our first question. It comes to us from David Griffiths. He is the Director of Tech in Jeju, Korea.
Hi, my name's Dave Griffith, and I am the Tech Director at St. Johnsbury Academy Jeju in South Korea. And I have a question for the panel of Global Take, and that is, what are the key guiding components of your athletics and your activities program, and how do you share them with your community members?
Great question to start us off, because I'm sure we all have these, but it's no good just if we know them, right? We need to make sure our community knows them and believes in them as well. So, Scott, can you kick us off to?
Yeah, sure, Nick. Thanks for the opportunity to start first. I think it's extremely important as an athletic director that our program supports the mission of the school, so the overall mission of the school, and that we support that. And from DAA standpoint, we pull out important words and emphasize those words. So for example, empowering, rigorous, supporting the whole child. So we do that, and we emphasize those words in our mission statement as an athletic department. And then we get that mission, and we do that through providing opportunities for our kids to compete or to participate in a well-rounded program. And I think we do a really good job at our school with that. And then with that, our coaches support that, and our students and parents. And we get our message out in a variety of ways. So for example, handbooks, meetings, the website. We have a bi-weekly newsletter called Spots, and monthly meetings with parents.
Great. Yeah, it's great to constantly put that message out, right? Dave, how about with you in Belgrade?
Yeah, that's great. I completely agree with Scott, totally supporting the mission of the school. I think I'd like to add that, we also, a lot of our programs are co-curricular, i.e. they are supporting the taught curriculum. We want to align that program so that students are learning. We're creating pathways for students to excel in their passions. Generally linked with a school strategic plan. It could be to do with steering committees, health and wellness, STEM, reading and writing, performing arts, service learning. We try to make sure that everything's equitable and inclusive. We're taking a greater look at wellness right now here at ISB in collaboration with our counseling department and our student leadership groups. making sure we're getting feedback from our various stakeholders, and then providing activities or well-being for people in need. We've just partnered with Functional Movement Systems UK, which is really great for us. It's going to help us create individual movement capacity screens on students and teachers so that they physically feel great when they're at school. And if they generally feel great at school, then they're going to have a great day as part of our school community. Our program success, as Scott said, very much linked to that partnership between home and school, having coffee mornings, weekly newsletters. What do we share on our website? Making sure that all of our stakeholders at our school share a common language.
Right. That sounds great. Kathy, how about in the Philippines?
Yeah, so it's very similar to what Dave and Scott said. So aligning the activities program with the school's mission and vision. And I'll add one more. In our case, we just went through WAS accreditation. And so even adding the ESLERs, the expected student learning results, aligning that as well and trying to integrate those ESLERs into everything we do in the activities program, be that the sports or the ASAs or the fine and performing arts. And to do that, much like what Dave was saying as well, we try to offer a wide variety of activities because we've got such a diverse student body. And so we don't want to leave anybody out. We want to offer something for everybody. And so that's how we focus on our guiding components.
Yeah, that's great.
I'm wondering if I can just, I'm sorry, Nick, just to jump in. Dave made a good point about wellness and student well-being and staff well-being. And I think our school's making good strides in that. And our counseling department has looked into that. We have a wellness hero for every month. And it goes throughout the school. You get a chance to nominate your hero for that month. I haven't won yet, but I'm certainly trying. But I think it's important in these times.
Yeah. Hey, maybe being a part of this show will help you win that, Scott. In our school, we have those same core values that you mentioned, Scott. I think a lot of the schools have them, and I really believe it's good to not have your own athletics and activity core values, that they are the same with the school. And as Dave said, it's co-curricular, right? We got to stop using extracurricular activities, right? Because they are we want them to, be aligned with everything we do at the school. And it's a small thing, but co versus extra can be a big difference in how, stakeholders in your school view those programs that you have. Right? We do have a question, actually also to follow up on something that Dave said. It's coming from Molly, and it's going to pop up here in a second. It says, hey, you got a really cool program, it sounds like there. Will you be looking to implement that in your new school? Because Dave, you are in Serbia now, but you're moving not too far away to Zurich next year. So can you comment on that?
Sure. Yeah, I'm actually moving to Intercommunity School Zurich next year. And really interesting question. I think every international school, maybe not just every international school, but every school, as we come out of this crisis response mode and we move into what is this new normal, wellness is going to be in the driving seat of all of those conversations. I think that we could probably see some signs of trauma in perhaps staff and students, and how do we respond to that? What work do we have to do from our department to help the counselors, to help strategic planning for that crisis, moving out of crisis response and into the new norm? I'll definitely be having those conversations with that new school because, as I said, I think if students and staff generally physically feel great, then that perhaps allows them to perform better in school. So yeah, definitely a conversation that I'll be having, but I think a lot of schools will be having very similar conversations too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think our messages, they shouldn't just be static, they shouldn't be just on a wall, on posters of in documents. They need to be really out there, shared with everybody. Kathy, you wanted to make a comment?
Yeah, that's especially difficult for my school because here in the Philippines, the entire country is online learning. We are not in person and haven't been since March. And it doesn't look like we're headed to in-person classes or back on campus. And so that wellness aspect is huge, and we're doing what we can. And so, Dave, I'm going to be following what you're doing.
Yeah, it's definitely at the top of so many people's minds, and athletics and activities, and people like us, we know about it, right? We work with it day in and day out, so we can be really key people in our schools to help bring that to everybody. Right? Great. Well, off to a good start. I don't want to forget and tell all our viewers to check in with School Rubric in between these sessions. Like, share, comment, ask questions. Let everybody know about this show and all the other great content that School Rubric has. So it'd be great to help us grow our community. And hey, if you're listening and you want to be a guest, one of the panelists, you want to be featured in a question, or just want to submit a topic for a show, then contact us. Reach out to School Rubric in general, or me personally. Love to have you be a part of the show. So yeah, with that said, let's keep it going and go to question number 2. It's coming from an AD in Bangkok, Shelley Wochuk.
Hi, everybody. This is Shelley from KIS International School in Bangkok. As someone that believes in educational athletics and the whole child, I'm wondering how often you have to get this message out to your community and what kinds of obstacles, if any, you face when delivering that message. Thanks.
Wow, great question. I'm sure we've all had some obstacles. Dave, why don't you start this one for us?
Sure. Just in response to how often as possible is the sort of short response that I would have. For me, holistic education is the shared responsibility that our students should be supported by our community. They need to develop this idea of a compassionate understanding of the world around them. Getting your school employees on board is, it can be hard at times. You need to be able to have supportive conversations with people. I don't necessarily think that, teaching education as you go through university prepares you for all of the jobs that you're going to be asked to do as a teacher in a school. And then we work in an international sector where we're expected even more of us. And so to think about that in general terms is that we need to be prepared as a staff, as a group of people that are part of a community, to be part of all of those extra pieces all the way along the way. And sometimes supportive conversations are going to be needed to help bring people along. I think, in terms of challenges, just a cursory glance at international schools' websites tells you everything. When I log on to a school's website and the first thing I see is their IBDP average score, how many students they have from certain populations, they're telling me straight away how many teachers have a master's. Well, they're telling me exactly what their focus is. Their focus is academics. Okay. For me, I would prefer to log on to a school's website and see what else are we going to teach the students. We all know that we have great teachers in the classroom. We all know that they're going to get a wonderful education at all of our schools. But what are we value adding to their education? That really should be the message, I think, from a school's point of view. And then who gets to see that message, and where does it sit within your school? If you're the athletic director or student life, where do you sit on that web page? Are you hidden, or are you out front? Are you one of the links on the page? Do you, as a person within your school, get to sit at a table where you get to discuss with the main leaders of the school, perhaps the parent board, perhaps the leadership in your school? Do you get those ears and that opportunity to talk about what you do at the school? Because think about it, your program touches almost every single student in the school. That's how important you are as a person, as an athletic director, an activities coordinator, student life and leadership coordinator. That's how important our job is. And that's where you should be sitting. And those are the conversations that you should be having. And then the last one is messaging. Is your message clear? Is it easy to understand? Is it shared with all the stakeholders? And then do those stakeholders share the same message?
Right. That's great. Yeah, a lot of great points. And you're right, a lot of ADs and people in our positions, they're not on the admin team, right? They're an afterthought. And hey, a top quality education should be a given in all of our schools, right? It's what extra things are we doing for our kids? Kathy, can you add?
Well, I'm going to ditch all my notes and just take off from what Dave said. I am fortunate enough to have full support of my admin they get it. I am on the admin team, and I know some of my fellow ADs are not. And Dave's right. It's huge because their support, it is the value added of education. Our role is very important to complete that whole child, like what Shelley was saying. That's our goal, is to complete the whole child. And one of the ways, again, what Dave said is, yes, you try to, you pound that into people's minds. And, one of the good things about going through a WASC accreditation is the whole community is involved. So the students are involved, the admin's involved, the faculty's involved, parents are involved, and those ESLers, what we call them, the expected student learning outcomes, they're really in the forefront. And so that's one of the ways to just get that message across. Let me just tell you what our ESLers are. It's responsible citizenship, critical thinkers, healthy individuals, tolerant individuals, and lifelong learners. So that's what ours are. And just to get that out there, it's having a seat at the table, like what Dave said, is, you want to be there.
That's great. Often those accreditation years are looked at so negatively, right? But they really are a way to bring people together, talk about what's going on from all different aspects of your school. It's great.
Absolutely.
Great. Scott, how about you?
Yeah, you can tell how passionate Dave is and Kathy is about the subject, and so am I. And I think it's important as an AD to have a seat at the table as an admin or SLT member, and I have that opportunity at my school to sit on that. And I think that's great. So we're able to profess our message from top to bottom, and I think it's important as well. As an AD, we're not part of that upper echelon of SLT, but we're in the middle, so we lead from the middle. So we got to get buy-in from SLT above us, but we're also leading to teachers, coaches, students, and parents. So we do have an important job at our school. And I've always said, and maybe somebody from our school's on this, I've always said that the athletic program is the heart and soul of the school. And you see it now because we're not totally involved with our program. But when teachers leave campus at 3:30, 4 o'clock, and they see kids out on the football field or in the swimming pool, on the track, taking part in things, people do come back and say, hey, Scott, you're doing a great job in making sure these kids are getting an opportunity to participate. So that makes me feel good, but it's there for the kids.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing is, I wanted to take Shelley's question and go from the obstacle part. Is COVID's really, hurt our programs, because, like Kathy said, they're not even in school. We're on a blended model, and we don't get to compete. We're practicing, but we're not playing. We're not getting to our end goal. And I think that's going to hurt us down the road.
Yeah.
And how we come out in September when we get back to school, how are we going to create those coach-student relationships is extremely important.
Right. The obstacles, as Shelley asked, it's really hard. I don't hear a lot of people saying they don't believe in it. They know, they get the value of what we're talking about. It's more of, I don't have enough time, or it's not as important as everything else I'm doing. Maybe getting the kids ready for the IB exam, or obviously the challenges grow as the students age, but there is time, and I think international schools, when we're all together in one building, it's too easy just to sit in silos, elementary school, middle school, high school. We're there, we can talk. We should have all our programs extending through the whole school, right? The things we're trying to teach in our athletics and activities program can be extended everywhere and all throughout. And it's too easy just to say, I'm too busy, or I don't have enough time. We're in one building, one school community. We really should be taking the time to work together, right? The whole child, that's what we're talking about. Yeah, Scott.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about buy-in, or at least that's in our notes here. Mm-hmm. And sitting in SLT, we have bi-weekly meetings, and it's nice that I'm one of the first ones who gets an opportunity to talk in those meetings and give an update, and everybody's there to listen and to hear what's going on in our program, and that helps create that buy-in. And then I take that buy-in, and the admin take it and take it to further, reaches of the school. So that's really good.
That's great. Great. I want to go to another audience question here. We've touched on it a little bit, but there's a question. It's going to pop up here in a sec. It says, what other stakeholders in your school do you work with to develop these wellness programs? Oh, there it is from a good friend of ours, Todd. Thanks, Todd, for the question. And Dave, we haven't heard from you in a while. Do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, absolutely. So, right from the ground floor, you've got the people who are running the activities. So the sponsors, the coaches, possibly teachers, possibly external people. Working with teachers is generally a little bit easier because they may already understand your philosophy and where you're coming from as a school. If you're working with external coaches or external people that come in to run, language programs, things like that, that might be more of a conversation, and you may have to do a little bit of training with those folks. I think it also extends out to the people who work in your cafeteria. If you're, running programs where students are going to be able to go and grab food before sessions and things like that. Bus drivers, custodial staff, parents, all of those people need to be part of your philosophy, because otherwise it won't work. The bottom line is that your program's only as good as the worst thing in it. And if the worst thing in it drags everything else down, that's where your program sits. So we have to try and get everything up to the same level all of the time, all of the people buying into the same ideas all of the time. Otherwise, it's just not going to function like you want it to.
Fantastic. Yeah, great answer, David. It really is a community effort. And I would just say that it doesn't matter what the job title is. If someone's interested in taking part and helping and maybe working with a leadership program that goes from K to 12, just write a general email. Hey, who's interested in this? We need some more people on board. It could be a grade 2 teacher. It could be, the IB economics teacher, anybody and anybody in between. Kathy, can you comment on Todd's question?
Yeah, the first thing I thought of with Todd's question about stakeholders, well, at first it was the principals, and then it was the guidance counselors. But, after listening to Dave and then thinking about it some more, I feel that our stakeholders are students as well. I mean, just having them do things. I feel like everything I do to try to put things online, like ASAs, clubs, whatever you want to call them, performing arts, we've got a talent show coming up. I mean, all of these things that I'm trying to do online is towards the wellness of the students, So I feel like, yes, it's me, but it's the principals, it's just everybody. Everybody's a stakeholder in this whole wellness, trying to get our kids to feel good.
Yeah, absolutely. Scott, we have another question coming in. It's directed at you. You mentioned a wellness hero a few minutes ago, and it's just asking you to elaborate that a little bit more, or maybe push someone in the right direction if there's somewhere online that they can find out more. Thanks, Mo, for the question.
Yeah, great to hear from Mo. What they do at the school comes from the counseling department, and what they're trying to do is to point out actions and people who have done these actions to promote wellness throughout the school. It could be helping students with their work, reading in the classroom, anything that's been promoting wellness. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I can point Mo in the right direction. But then what they do is they nominate teachers each month, and then there's a vote for it. And then this wellness hero receives a prize, a small prize, because we're out there promoting wellness of the student body, not only the student body, but the community as a whole.
Right. Yeah, I think it's great. Any kind of program that champions the great things that our teachers, staff, and students are doing is something great for the community, right? We have such great members of our community. They should be highlighted. So that's awesome. We're going to stay with Mo. Go to another question. If that's all right, Kathy, you can definitely have time. But Mo wants to know how we are allowing our students during the pandemic to experience the life skills, that they get in a normal school year. We're stuck behind the computers. We're doing things for them, but those normal life skills are maybe failing. So I want to jump in first.
I don't mind. I can go. So for us, generally, we teach social emotional learning through our homeroom program. So a lot of that is covered by our counselors. We obviously work very closely, I do, with our counseling team, because they put together weekly surveys to check on students, how they're doing, how they're feeling, where the pressure points are. And so within those homeroom times, we're allowed to have those conversations with our counselors and see where a student's struggling, and then to be able to tailor that 45-minute session that we have with them, with our homerooms, towards talking about certain things that may be a struggle at that particular point in time. Are we ever going to get that sort of face-to-face, those sort of things, those life skills that happen just by being face-to-face? That's really tough at this point in time, but I think that we're doing the best that we can. And in general, we're giving them a good baseline foundation so that when we do come back to that new norm, they'll be ready. Kids are going to be kind of like sponges when we all get back to normal, because they're just going to want to take in everything.
Yeah.
Just like the teachers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Kathy, I don't know if you want to comment on this, on Mo's question, or something else, Kathy. Please.
Yeah, I'm struggling to answer Mo's question. I mean, obviously it's because we're not online, and I the only thing I can think of is learning how to cope, learning how to not get what you want all the time. That's part of learning how to cope. But geez, yeah, when you guys get more answers, please send them my way.
Yeah, we don't always know all the answers, right? That's for sure. Thanks, Charles, for watching. A comment popped up from him. He's the host of Inside the Principal's Office on School Rubric, another great show you should check out. So thanks. We're getting close to the end, but I want to ask everybody one more thing. For anyone watching right now, can you give one tip if they want to go out and help align the sails in their school, so to speak, today, as soon as we're done? What would it be?
All right, I'll go. If you don't have a philosophy for your program, get one. And if you have one, condense it. Make it easy to remember and easy for people to regurgitate, often to everyone.
Great.
I think I think the piggyback off of Dave is emphasize those keywords, but also remember sports and activities haven't been happening for a long time, so we've forgotten how good we've had it. Yeah. Our schools offer really great programs, and we haven't had it for a long time, so we don't know what you got until it's gone.
Yeah.
Really. And I can't wait until we get them back.
Great thought. Thanks. Kathy?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. Just aligning your school's mission vision with the ESLers, with your own activities program, offering something for as many students and as a diverse offering as you can, and then taking off of what Scott says, just being nice to everybody and appreciating everything that comes your way forever.
Yeah. Great. Some great tips. And I would say start now for next year. Right? It's not too early to start for next year, and include everybody. You never know where, the passions of some of your, colleagues are, right? So just include everyone. Don't try to pick someone that you think might be good, because you never know what's gonna come back. So awesome. Such a great conversation today. Some great questions from viewers. Thank you so much. Great back and forth. I appreciate it. And the next Global Take is going to be March 18th. 12 o'clock CET, same time as this one. Hope you tune in. We're going to talk about the balance between inclusive and competitive programs. And we're going to have people from all around the world again. We have Azerbaijan, Indonesia, and Paraguay. So, hey, in the meantime, connect with us, follow, ask questions, reach out. Love to hear from you and love to have you on a future show. So thanks, Scott, Kathy, Dave.
Thank you.
All right. Great. Thanks everyone out there.
So much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for watching School Rubric on YouTube. Make sure that you like, follow, and subscribe in order to stay looped in on all of our diverse collection of shows, interviews, panels, tutorials, and more from educators around the globe. And visit us at schoolrubric.com for even more great content, such as our online articles, Interact magazine, featured podcasts, and more. Thank you.